Hey guys, so this is the last assignment for the Saudi Arabia section. It is the big assignment. It is a high level grade. It is very similar to, at least in form, to what we've been doing for the last assignment, meaning that it is a 2-page or 2-paragraph paper. Each paragraph needs to be 5 to 7 sentences. So you're going to use two things to write this paper. One is a video on women's rights of Saudi Arabia, and then the other one is an article that is going to talk about some of the changes that are happening in Saudi Arabia. So this one, I'm not going to read it to you because it is a good chunk of stuff here, but I am going to go over kind of what should be in place and kind of how to do it. All right, so while you're watching the video and while you are reading the article, I would just have maybe a Google Doc open or a piece of paper so that you can write down kind of 5 changes that have taken place in Saudi culture. So there are plenty. I look through these and there's plenty in there, so 5 should not be hard to find. Just make sure that you have 5. Now the reason why that's important is because it takes 5 sentences for the first paragraph, and that's what the first paragraph is going to be about, is about these 5 changes here. So as long as you have these 5 things written down, that will basically fill out your first paragraph. Now remember, you have to make it into a sentence. You can't just put a list, but those 5 things, it's not very hard to make those into a sentence. All right, now the second paragraph is after you've read this and you've watched the video, is you're going to ask yourself, why would opening these new coffee houses cause conflict within traditional Saudi culture? All right, so the coffee houses is the main thing that they're talking about in this article, is how these coffee houses are kind of going against the traditional Saudi culture. So you'll need to stop and think a little bit, kind of what is the traditional Saudi culture? What are these coffee shops doing that is different? And then how is this going to cause conflict? What do you think people's opinions that follow the traditional Saudi culture are going to be about these new coffee houses that are breaking those rules? And so that's what your second paragraph is. So I would probably, like I said, pick a couple of things that are changing, and then write a few sentences about that, and then I would write a few sentences about how that is coming into conflict with traditional Saudi culture, and then maybe a sentence or two explaining what you think the result of that is going to be. And then there is a chance for extra credit here. So if your grade is not where you would like it to be, I offered 10 points of extra credit on this high level grade. If you write a third paragraph explaining to me what you think may happen to Saudi culture going forward due to the changes that are taking place. So, these changes that you saw up here, these 5 changes and stuff you're talking about, what do you think is going to happen going forward? We already know what's happening now. You're going to find it out when you read the article and watch the video. But what do you think is going to happen going forward? Is it going to get better? Is it going to get worse? If so, why or why not? Remember that this has to be 5 to 7 sentences, just like the other paragraphs. And this needs to be, something that makes sense for this extra credit. You can't just give me fluff to try to get extra credit. You need to make a logical line of thinking and write that down. All right. So if it doesn't make sense, you're not going to get credit for it. So if you're not willing to put in the effort to make sure that it makes sense, I would not even bother, right? Because you're not required to. You'll just be wasting your time and mine. So these first 2 paragraphs are required. That is the actual grade. And then the other paragraph is there for extra credit. All right. Let's talk about these unfamiliar words, though, for a second, because you need to understand these in order to really understand what the text is talking about. So the word conservative is talking about people or societies that hold on to traditional attitudes and values. They're cautious about change or innovation. And typically this is in relationship to politics or religion. So they don't want to change the way things are. They like them the way they are, and they want them to stay the way they are. Ultra conservative is like conservative, but they take it to the extreme. They follow the letter of every religious text. There is no, I might do this or I might do that. You do it or else. So that is what ultra conservative means. Micromanage means to control everything. Like, instead of being like, hey, go do this, and then they come back later and be like, okay, did you finish? Someone would go, hey, go do this. And then they stop by every 5 minutes to tell you what to do. All right. That's micromanaging. Propelled just means to push forward. Like, so, if you push forward an agenda, or if you're pushing forward with an idea, that's what they mean by propelled. Segregate means to separate from the rest. So in this case, it's talking about segregation of men and women because of the conservative society that Saudi Arabia is. They don't like for women and men to be together when they're not related. So they segregate them. Entrepreneur is a person who owns and operates their own business. So rather than someone who just works for a business, this is someone who started their own business. Clientele is just another word for customers or clients. Skews means to slant or kind of move things towards one position or another. If you really, really like, let's say, the Carolina Panthers, and you're saying that they're going to beat out a team that's better than them, your idea might be skewed more towards the Carolina Panthers because you like them. Like, it's not based on actual facts, but more like your feelings about something. Chronically means something that happens over and over again. It's recurring or persistent. Hillock is a small hill or a mound, so it's not like a big hill; it's a small one. Inclusive means to bring people in, to include others. In this case, I think they're using it as like something for all services. So like you're getting all the services and not just part of the services. And then unfurled just means to spread out. Like you unfurl a sail, whenever it's tied up and then you let it out where it's open. That's unfurling. All right, guys. So good luck on this. If you have any questions or if you need help, please let me know.